Welcome back. So it's Monday the 30th of October. We are 8 weeks out from Australian Open qualifying. I didn't get any filming done last week, so there was no vlog video. The weather wasn't too great and had a few extra things on with work, so I didn't really get the chance to get out to the course and film. But this week we've got some nicer weather lined up. I'll definitely be getting out and filming some of the different elements of practice. So we've already done our workout this morning in the home gym here. So having a protein shake now, and we'll be eating some lunch shortly, and then we'll head up to the course. I did a session indoors yesterday, didn't film it. I got some new shafts put in to my irons. So went and needed to get on and see some data to do some new distance gapping because it's tremendously different. The shafts I did have in my irons previously, they weren't quite right for me anymore. I was getting too much high launch, too much spin, losing a ton of distance, and just wasn't controllable at all. Out on the course, really, it was just wasn't sure what I was going to get with the launch condition. So I've now got the rifle 6.5s put back in the irons, which is what I used to play. Much more consistent penetrating ball flight now, which is much better, and the distance has increased by 20 to 30 meters, which is massive. I was losing a lot, which is pretty crazy to think about. So yeah, I did that session yesterday, got those numbers through the bag, through pitching wedge, through 5-iron, but today's session is going to be a little bit less strenuous on the body because I didn't warm up properly before that session. It was a lot of balls, and I've actually tweaked my back a little bit, so a little bit sore today. Going to take it easier. I did take it easier in the gym, can take it a bit easier on the course. So the plan for today is we will head up and start with pitching. So focusing on really up to probably about that 60-meter range. There's a space at the course that I can practice that off the back of the driving range there. So just focusing on contact and a bit of field distance, heading up to those different posts that are set up, which you'll see. Whilst we're there, there's also the bunker that is with those posts. So I'll focus a bit on bunker distance control as well. So not necessarily like greenside bunker shots, but some of those longer distance bunker shots, which is a weakness in mine, and I'm pretty sure everybody's game. I've never heard somebody say they're completely comfortable hitting longer bunker shots. So we'll focus on that as well, doing a bit of feel for some longer distance shots there. And then we will go out onto the course. So normally I would play normal and then drop some extra balls for some distance control or extra up and downs. But because I've tweaked my back a little bit yesterday, I'm going to try and steer away from hitting driver or any longer shots in today's session, just to give my back a little bit of a break. So we're going to go out and play a bit of a modified par 3 course. So I'll play 9 holes on one of the 9s at the course. And what we'll do is I'll get Siri to suggest a random number in between. I don't really want to go below 100. I'll say so 100 up to maybe that 160 range, probably around that. And then on par 5s and par 4s, we'll go out to that distance and we'll play it like a par 3 going in, and then we'll play the par 3s as where they are. So a bit of a modified format. Just really focusing on that kind of scoring zone, which is where I really need to hone in. Driver's generally pretty good, don't have much issue there. Really needing to get the ball closer on my iron shots and give myself more birdie chances. So we'll set ourselves a target for the par 3 course that we'll do, and then we'll mark that down, and each time I go out and do that over the coming weeks, because it will be a more regular thing as well, we can benchmark against it and try and get better and better and better. So in this vlog, I'll show some of the shots and some of the holes from playing the 9 holes, but I'll film that as a separate video to also put up on the channel. So this rest of this vlog will focus on the wedge work that I'm going to do at the range, the bunker work, and then some of the shots out on the course as well. So we'll finish off the drink, have some lunch, get a little bit more work done, and then let's head up to the course. Okay, so we started off with pitching. What I'm doing here is teeing the ball up and just hitting to a target that's about 25-30 meters away, just in front of the bunker there. And I'm focusing really on two things. One, crisp contact, and two, making sure that I'm coming through nice and shallow. So combining that with teeing the ball up, if I get too steep, it's going to ride up the face and the ball flight will be way too high. So by teeing it up and focusing on coming through nice and shallow, I can make sure I hit the bottom grooves, have a nice lower ball flight, and really consistently hit that target. So we started out here with the 52-degree wedge and now switching up to my 56-degree wedge. So I always start with less loft just so I can make a bit smaller swings and then progressively work my way up, because it gets harder and harder as you're adding more loft to then keep the flight down. So still working on the exact same things here, teeing up the ball, exact same swing, exact same setup, just making a little bit of a bigger swing to get that extra distance. But the flight, I'm trying to maintain the exact same height and I'm landing it in that same pool out there in the distance. So I hit about 15 balls with each of my three main wedges, so 52, 56, and then I worked up to my 60-degree as well, hitting to the exact same target. After this, I moved on to some distance control work. Now, I didn't get to film this because I was working around some other people that were on back at the range. But pretty much what I would do is take 5 balls with each of my wedges and then gradually work my way from post to post, hitting each of those 5 balls to that target. So same distance, different clubs, really just trying to gain a feel and have a similar tempo and hitting to my target. So I didn't originally plan to do any work on the actual range, hitting some fuller shots, but I thought I'd just add in, I had about 25, 30 balls. And what I did was grabbed my 8-iron, and really I'm focusing on the same principles here that I was just focusing on with pitching. I'm teeing the ball up, focusing on staying nice and wide, coming down nice and shallow, and just hitting little half punch shots here with my 8-iron out to a target in the distance. Again, two main focuses here, focusing on crisp contact with the tee and then also keeping that low flight, just hitting nice little fades out there into the distance. So after we finished here, I turned back around and went and jumped into that bunker that we were pitching over earlier. So just before this, I'd done some initial work on strike. So I drew a line in the sand, pretty simple drill, and just worked my way along the sand, hitting the line, making sure that I was controlling that low point. So starting out with one hand, so with my right hand, going about halfway and then adding on my left hand and just making sure that I'm hitting that line consistently so I can control that low point for these next shots. So I started out with my 56-degree wedge and I'm going to the blue post up on the hill. Now the distance was probably about 15 meters and pretty much I'm trying to pitch it basically the entire way to it. So that first one that you just saw there was a little bit on the heavy side, but I'm trying to get that nice, not too high, but medium flight out there, landing it within a couple meter circle of that blue post. So just some pretty stock standard repetition work here. I hit maybe about 10, 15 balls with the 56-degree wedge, just trying to ingrain that feeling. I used the 56 because it has 10 degrees of bounce, so a bit more forgiving. So I wanted to get that feeling right before coming and switching over to my 60-degree, which I've just done now. So my 60-degree has less bounce, which is better for when there's less sand below the ball. So that's what I've just been doing here, been using my foot to kind of sweep the sand away, make it a bit of a firmer ground and guarantee a bit more of a smoother contact. So pretty much doing the exact same here as I was with my 56-degree. Just trying to get that medium flight landing at the post. Okay, so we changed up training a little bit, as you can see. Started to get a bit breezy, so I had to stop filming when I was in the bunker because the tripod just kept blowing over with the wind. I then went to go out on course and didn't actually think about it before heading to the course today. It's school holidays, so there was a lot of kids there. There was a couple of kids clinics happening, and then a lot of kids and their parents out on course. So it was much busier than it usually is for a Monday, and I didn't actually plan for that. So yeah, it was going to be a bit difficult to get out and play those 9 holes doing the par 3 format. So I'll have to do that hopefully on Friday, and I'll film it for another video. So training got cut a little bit short, but it was a good session overall with that focus on pitching and then bunkers, and also getting a little bit of range work in as well, just focusing on strike. So that'll do it for today. I'll get some more work done and chill out for the rest of the day, do a bit more mobility work later this evening, and then yeah, get on with the week and keep working at it. So hope you enjoyed this video. Very excited for obviously the weeks to come. It's very exciting being 8 weeks now till the qualifying event. So let's see how we can go.